Hey solos, so you're going to Walt Disney World all by yourself this Christmas, and you want to know what you can do outside of the parks that would be very Christmassy. Well, so a little spoiler, all of the resorts have Christmas decorations, and even though resorts like Grand Floridian get a lot of buzz, the fact is there is awesome Christmas decorations to see at every one of the resorts, and we are going to talk about that today. Hi everyone, it's Samantha. A lot of me not know who Samantha is, but now you do, and welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now posting on Thursdays. In this episode, we're going to be doing a tour of all of the resorts to talk about how you can see as many Christmas decorations in one day as possible. Although, full disclosure, this is like both realistic and unrealistic. So you might want to just take like sections of this and make it work for you on your trip in December to Disney if you're going to see the Christmas decorations, but I think it's going to be fun anyway. Now, 2 weeks ago, I did an episode about the different parks and what they do for Christmas. And I said that was going to be part 1 of 2 related to Christmas at Disney. But guess what? I've decided to do a third part. So this is part 2 on resorts. Part 1 was on the parks, and then part 3 is going to be in 2 weeks. And that is going to be on doing Disney at Christmas kind of cheaply. Like the other episode that I did about like saving money at Disney, it's really just a matter of like stretching your dollar more than like not spending money. So anyway, look out for that episode too. So what else? So I hope you all are okay with the schedule change from Tuesday to Thursday. I already feel a huge like wave of energy of a little bit more freedom to post the episode. Anyway, whatever. Look, it's working for me and I hope it works for you as well. And then I also found out by a listener that even though I had made that podcast announcement on the Tuesday, I actually like reposted the Christmas episode. So you see, I needed a break. In that episode, I did said that like when I actually posted the podcast announcement episode, I said that there was going to be an episode on things that I was grateful for that was going to be on Patreon for free members as well as paid members if you wanted an episode on Tuesday. And I said it was going to be up for a week and I will leave it up for another week because the schedule got thrown off. All of my social media links are below. You can listen to this on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. Please make sure you rate, review, subscribe, etc., etc. You can join the Patreon. There is a tier at $4 American, and there is a tier at like $2 American. So thank you so much for supporting the podcast. And let's get into Christmas. So I really like scents in my home, and I got this like warmer for wax. I actually like learned about the wax warming stuff through Disney, like through wanting to like capture different scents at that I smelled at Disney, and so I got the warmers for that. Anyway, for the Thanksgiving season here in Canada, I wanted to get a wax warmer, and I didn't really want to get pumpkin spice. By the way, pumpkin spice doesn't taste or smell like pumpkin. It's the spices that go into a pumpkin pie. The more you know. So I wanted to do something a little different. So I got apple cinnamon. And so now every time I walk into the apartment, it smells like Christmas. Apparently apple cinnamon only reminds me of Christmas. So I'm very much into this episode because every time I've been walking into the apartment, I'm just like, hey, Christmas is coming, right? I mean, we're not even at Halloween yet, but Christmas is coming. So I wanted to do an episode talking about the Christmas decorations at the different resorts, but I was like, how would I order them? What would I talk about? And then I was like, why don't we just do a little walk around, a trip around the different resorts? Walking will be included, but also the monorail and the Skyliner and boats and all of the and buses, all of the transportation. Now, I think that somebody could do this. I have planned it out as realistically as possible. However, I don't think it's actually realistic because of like actual distances and times and distractions and eating and the Florida sun and all of that stuff. So take it with as much of a grain of salt as possible. And maybe you want to like take certain chunks of this and like do it during your trip, but not do it all in one day. But we're just going to like live in pretend land because I think that will be more fun to do a walkthrough. So come with me on this little walkthrough. All right, so first we're going to try to go to as many of the resorts as possible to see their Christmas decorations. And I just want to say that this is such a fun thing to do. So as I said in the introduction, Grand Floridian gets a lot of promotion because they have their big giant gingerbread building right in the lobby. But they're not going to have that this year because of the construction to the new bar lounge that's coming to the Grand Floridian. They're not going to do the gingerbread. So it's already a good time to like span out and like think of other resorts to go to. But the fact is, like, yeah, Grand Floridian is really beautiful, but as I've said every single time I've talked about this, the crowds are so busy that it's really not that much fun. For me, at least. I think when you're there solo, it's like nice to be in a crowd, but then when the crowds are so crowding, like you can't really enjoy yourself. So going solo to Disney to be able to do your own self-guided tour or your own Samantha guided tour. Actually, that would be amazing. Highly recommended, 10 out of 10. I think is a better way to get what you want from going to the Grand Floridian, for example, but doing it on your own pace and at your own speed. And that's really why we go to Disney solo, right? Or one of the main reasons that we go to Disney solo is that we can do all these things at our own pace, at our own speed. And, if you have somebody that's with you, they're like, why would I ever go to All Star Sports to see their Christmas tree? You can be like, because Christmas trees are awesome and I don't need to explain myself to you. I'm just going to go. So speaking of which, we're going to start at the All Stars. So we're going to do a tour of as many of the resorts as possible, and we are going to start at the All-Stars. The 3 All-Star hotels, All-Star Sports, All-Star Movies, and All-Star Music, are right next to each other. They are connected by parking lots. They are the closest resorts to one another. And so if you want to start by seeing all the Christmas trees at as many resorts as possible, then start your morning at the All-Star hotels. Okay, quick pause solos. It is 11:30 at night, midweek when I'm recording this, and I just hopped on to the Disney app in order to see which of the 3 All-Star hotels is in the middle. And then when I looked at the app, Peter Pan has like a 10-minute wait time. Haunted Mansion has a 5-minute wait time. Pirates of the Caribbean has a 5-minute wait time. Oh my gosh, it's time for another Disney trip. Okay, so the information I went for is All-Star Music. Okay, so you can start your Christmas tree tour at the different All-Star hotels. You could start at All-Star Movies, for example, and go to the lobby and take a look at their Christmas tree and all of their Christmas decorations. And all of them are themed, like every single Christmas tree you're going to see around the Disney World property. They are all unique and they're all specially decorated for the particular place it is in. So All-Star Movies, for example, is going to have the movie flair. Then if you walk over to All-Star Music and that is a very easy walk across the parking lot, you're going to see the same kind of Christmas tree in the lobby, but with some music flair. Then you can walk across the parking lot again and go into that main building and then see the Christmas tree there, and it's All-Star Sports. That's sports themed. Now, because these hotels are so connected, there are a lot of similarities between the trees, but the uniquenesses of the music and the movies and the sports all kind of come through. And so that's a really great way to start the day. Plus, if you were in that main building seeing those Christmas trees, you can stop at one of the food courts. They're all off the lobby. In fact, I guess depending on how you're walking into the building, you might pass the food court before you actually get to the lobby. It's the same building. It's just depending on the different entrance that you have. And so you could start your day by seeing these Christmas trees and also having some Mickey waffles. All of the All-Stars now also have little coffee bars. And so I'm sure you can get in December something peppermint themed and all of that for your walk. And I think that's a really great way to start. Now, movies is the furthest away. Sports is the closest to the road. And so if I were you, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't really matter. But if I were you, for example, I would start at movies. I would get maybe like a coffee. I would take a look in the lobby at the Christmas tree, and then I would walk over with my iced coffee to music, and then I would see the Christmas tree there, maybe pick up some waffles, and then I would walk over to All Star Sports, finish my waffles, finish my coffee, see the Christmas tree, and then we're going to hop on the bus and we're going to go to Animal Kingdom. Okay, but before we do that, a couple things. Number one, I'm talking about walking through the different resorts, going to their different restaurants, going through their different snack bars and things like that. I'm talking about going to the lobbies. I'm talking about, like I said, walking through the property. None of these things are like bad or illegal or off limits or anything like that. No one will ever say to you like, hey, you shouldn't be here. No. If you remember correctly, Disney World is the size of San Francisco, twice the size of Manhattan, and you need to think of this whole area as one big hotel. And so when you are coming to the Disney World property, you have all of these public, quote unquote, Disney public spaces open to you. And so you're walking across the parking lot between the two hotels with a coffee in your hand and you're not staying there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No one is going to stop you. And hey, if somebody does, you can be like, hey, I'm going to look at the Christmas trees. And 9 times out of 10, the cast member will probably be like, oh, well, here's a fun fact. So don't worry about any of that. The second thing I want to point out is, I have mentioned this, but let me say it more explicitly. In the episode from 2 weeks ago, when I talked about the Christmas decorations in the parks, I said that some of them will start earlier in November because there are going to be the Christmas parties at Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, for example. But unlike what they show you on Disney Plus, it's not just like this flick of a switch and then all of a sudden all the Christmas decorations are out everywhere at the Walt Disney Resort property. No, places like the resorts, places like the actual hotels, they need more time. And so if you want to see all the Christmas decorations around, really you're going in December. And so if you go if you go right before American Thanksgiving, you might see some Christmas decorations at the resort you're staying at, but it is not guaranteed you're going to see all of it. So this walking tour is really for December. Also, I'm going to talk about how to get between all the different hotels using Disney transportation, but of course you can use a Lyft and Uber. And in this first one, you might notice I was like, oh, start at All-Star, but I didn't say how to get there. I mean, to be honest, if you're really going to do this, the best way to do it is either stay at All-Stars or to take a Lyft or Uber there. Otherwise, you need to do the bus and the bus and the bus, and then that cuts into your morning. But from this point forward, we're just going to use Disney transportation. All right, so from All Star Sports, I would get on the bus to Animal Kingdom. Now, of course, you can get on the bus to any single one of the parks at this point and then make a transfer to the next hotel I'm talking about. But the All Star hotels are the closest to Animal Kingdom, and the next hotel we want to go to is Animal Kingdom Lodge, and they essentially share the same property. So if you are doing this trip, then it is the best use of your time. Even if the Animal Kingdom bus is not the next bus that's there, is the best use of your time to get on the Animal Kingdom bus because of the geography of it all. So we get on the Animal Kingdom bus, we go to Animal Kingdom, and then we transfer to the bus that goes to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Again, this is a very quick little bus trip, so it is advantageous to your time to go here. Also, Animal Kingdom Lodge is such a great way to get into your Christmas day because Animal Kingdom Lodge has become my favorite place to go for Christmas. So if you remember from the episode I did on Animal Kingdom Lodge, there are 2 main buildings. You can go to both buildings, of course, or you can go to the main building, which is the Jumbo House, because that is where they have the biggest tree. The Animal Kingdom Lodge tree is just chef's kiss gorgeous. And when I was there in the evening, the first week of December last year, they had some crafts around the tree. They had a PhotoPass photographer. And then in the evening-ish, like 5 o'clock, they opened up a bar where they had hot chocolate and gingerbread and alcoholic versions of all of that stuff. This tree is so gorgeous and so unique and so awesome, but it's also right next to gingerbread safari animals. And it is so impressive. Like, sure, the gingerbread house at Grand Floridian is really impressive, but having these animals, like, to me, it is so impressive that the Christmas decorations are so personalized to these different locations. I just think it's amazing. And if you've never been to Animal Kingdom Lodge, this is the time to go, to be able to see that Christmas tree, to see the gingerbread animals, maybe to see the crafts, maybe to get a drink. It's just beautiful. Plus, you can still see the savannas, and just ask a cast member to point where the door is so that you can go out and see animals. It's really wonderful. You might wind up spending the whole day here. Also, if you're in the Jumbo House, go to the quick service restaurant, which is down the stairs outside by the pool, and get one of the combination platters. That is just like my favorite, and think of me because it's my favorite quick service ever. And as I've said on this episode multiple times, I could eat that every day. Once you're finished at Animal Kingdom Lodge, seeing all the Christmas decorations, get back on the bus to go to Animal Kingdom. Again, because it is the closest park, it is the best use of your time. From Animal Kingdom, you can transfer the bus to one of two places. I couldn't, in my schedule, when I was planning this out, I couldn't figure out a way to get all of these resorts in one trip. So I would pick one or the other. The first version is to go to Coronado. The Coronado bus will drop you off very close to the tower where the main lobby is, and there you get to see the beautiful decorations. You'll be able to see the beautiful two-story bar. It's just really gorgeous. But as many people know, Coronado is not my favorite resort because it's very hard to find food during the day. Because it is a conference hotel, the midday food is usually catered for the main people who are going to be in the hotel. If you are swimming in the pool, there is a great snack bar that's there. You can get full lunches, but if you're in the lobby, which is quite a ways away from the actual pool, there really isn't anything to do or to see. I mean, there's the Christmas decorations for sure, but I just don't know if you're there midday what else you would do. So instead, I would go from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Port Orleans Riverside. Port Orleans Riverside, I can't remember when I was there, but I didn't, because of all the hype on social media related to the Grand Floridian's Christmas decorations, I did not expect just a regular moderate resort to go so hard on Christmas decorations. And so when I was there a couple of years ago, I was like, look at this tree. Why don't people talk about this tree? The tree and the garland and the wreaths. Like, why aren't people talking about this? This is freaking gorgeous. So yeah, the tree is right in the middle of the lobby. It's so beautiful, and it matches so well with all of the different garland and the wreaths, and just really wonderful. When I was there too, I just remember like Belle just kind of popping up and doing some meet and greets. That was pretty rare. I wouldn't expect that, but Riverside is pretty enchanting. From Port Orleans Riverside, you can now walk over, or you can take the boat over to Port Orleans French Quarter, which is the smaller sister resort right next to Port Orleans Riverside. Once you're at Port Orleans Riverside, again, go into that lobby to see the Christmas trees and the garland and the wreaths and all of that stuff, and also get yourself some beignets. So Port Orleans French Quarter is a really small hotel, and it has one main building, and that is where the Scat Cat Lounge is. The Scat Cat Lounge actually has jazz on the weekends. Definitely go check it out. Like, please, can somebody just tell me if you have heard me talk about this on this podcast and you have gone to hear the jazz there, because that would just make me so happy if you have. But the Scat Cat Lounge, which is more popular, also has a place that you can get hot beignets. And they're so delicious, and everybody talks about them, and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I'm pretty sure that they do like a special flavor around Christmas. So you're probably in the mood for a little snack by this part. So you can go and get a beignet, a Christmas beignet, and enjoy yourself there. Now, you have two options here, although I really highly recommend one. One, you can take the boat over to Disney Springs, and then you can transfer to the boat to Old Key West and go and see their Christmas tree there. Actually, if it's around like lunch or brunch time, you might be able to go and check out Olivia's Cafe. I don't know what they would have for Christmas, but they had some shrimp and grits that were amazing. You could then take the boat over, well, back to Disney Springs, and then go from Disney Springs to Saratoga and see that Sarasota? Anyway, correct it in your head and see their Christmas tree there. I've never been there, not quite sure what that would be like, but you could go check it out. However, rather than do that, what I would recommend is after you do Port Orleans French Quarter, you get on the bus, which is right outside that main building, and you go to Hollywood Studios. Okay, just a side note, I do like the Virgo in me just kind of loves the logic of this plan, so I hope you enjoy it too. All right, so now that you're at Hollywood Studios, I want you to get on the Skyliner, and I want you to take that Skyliner over to the main hub, and then you take the Skyliner, the next Skyliner, over to Pop Century and Art of Animation. And here you can see the Christmas decorations at Pop Century and Art of Animation. Now, those Christmas trees, those are value resorts as well, but they have such beautiful, I'm just going to keep saying that. They have beautiful Christmas trees. Yes, they do. They have beautiful Christmas trees, and they're so, again, unique to those particular hotels. It is a bit of a walk. Like once the Skyliner lets you off, you have a 10-minute walk to one hotel if you go left, or if you go right, it's a 10-minute walk, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And then from that one hotel, you're crossing back across the Skyliner, you're going to the other hotel. That's maybe about 15 minutes. And then you want to cross back and go to the Skyliner. But of course, you'll be able to see the hotel. You'll be able to pass the Hippy Dippy pool at Pop Century, which is always fun, and the Nemo pool at Art of Animation, which is really, really awesome. And whenever I pass that pool, I'm just like, God, if I had toddlers, how much fun would this be? Also, even though this is a solo travel podcast, I should just say, if you're taking your kids to Disney World, stay in one of these value resorts and just hang out at the pool. In terms of saving money and having fun and being all together, a lot. Look, I'm not one of those people that say, oh, the kids won't remember it. No, for sure. Take these vacations, do all the stuff, everything like that. But don't feel oh, if we don't go to the park today, we're cheaping out. Your kids are going to love the Nemo splash pad. So have fun at the Nemo splash pad. You know what I mean? Okay, now we're going to get back on the Skyliner. We're going to go back over to Caribbean Beach Resort. So if you have never done the Skyliner like this, the Skyliner has 3 lines. One line goes from Hollywood Studios to the Caribbean Beach Hub. The other line goes from Pop Century and Art of Animation to the Caribbean Beach Hub. Then the third line goes from the Caribbean Beach Hub to the Riviera to Epcot. So generally, the transfer is very easy. It's not like a big subway system or whatever, but there are some transfers. So when you take the Skyliner from Art of Animation and Pop Century over to the Caribbean Beach, you can do one of 2 things on our little tour today. One is to just leave the Skyliner stop right there and then walk over to the main Caribbean Beach building in order to see the Christmas tree in that lobby. It is a little bit of a walk, for sure. If you get off at the Riviera stop, it is the same amount of walk. So, it's just, it's up to you about which side you want to walk on. But right when you get off Skyliner stop at the Caribbean Beach, hub, there's a Joffrey's there. So you could always get a nice little peppermint to Joffrey's and then walk over to the Caribbean Beach hub. And that way you can go and see the Christmas decorations there. And there's a lot of resorts actually that have kind of nautical theme, but I do just love the bright colors of this one, and I love that it is not as busy and it's kind of tucked away, and it's also right next to their quick service restaurant and their gift store if you needed some sustenance. From the Caribbean Beach lobby and seeing their Christmas decorations there, walk right out over to the Riviera Resort, where you can, of course, see their gorgeous Christmas decorations, but in Le Petit Café, which is which is on the floor where the lobby is, they usually have flavored macaron for Christmas. And so you can get your little Christmas snack there. Of course, you can go to quick service at any of these restaurants and have some lunch, but that is a way to get kind of a special Christmas snack. So if you're keeping track, we have gone to All-Star Music, All-Star Movies, All-Star Sports, Animal Kingdom Lodge, Port Orleans Riverside, Port Orleans French Quarter, Pop Century, Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, Riviera. Now we're going to get back on the Skyliner and we are going to go over to Epcot. But we're not going to go to Epcot. Instead, we are going to walk over to the boardwalk, or the beach club, or the yacht club. It doesn't really matter what order you do these in, but you need to go and check out these 3 resorts for their Christmas decorations. Now, the Value and Moderate Resorts Christmas decorations are beautiful and they're amazing, and A+, definitely go check them out. But at all the deluxe resorts, which includes Animal Kingdom Lodge, Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club, they have extra things that are in the lobby to have as decorations for Christmas. If you're going to skip Art of Animation, sure. No problem. So skip Art of Animation. But I'm telling you, don't skip. If you love Christmas decorations, obviously, don't skip these 3 resorts. I was floored last year. I went out of my way last year to go see as many hotel lobbies as possible for Christmas. And when I got there, I was like, why are people going to Grand Floridian when it is so busy and you could go here instead? It was just amazing. So other than the gorgeous Christmas trees and the garlands and the wreaths and all of that stuff, at Boardwalk, they have a gingerbread that's the size of a dollhouse, and it's lit up from the inside, and there's Disney characters, and it's just very charming and whimsical. I loved it. Plus, I talked to some of the cast members about what are the favorite objects on the different garland? Because again, it's so beautiful and detailed. And the cast members told me, pointed out objects on the garland and the tree that I hadn't even seen. You can go and spend so much time there being able to look for all these details. It's amazing. You're also going to be passing the Cake Bake Shop and the Boardwalk Deli, and I'm sure they will have a ton of snacks and things like that for if you start at the Boardwalk for Christmas. Then when you go over to Beach Club and Yacht Club, at the Yacht Club, what they have is a train setup. I wasn't that impressed by it because I don't really care about model trains. But you might care about model trains, and then you should go check it out. It was pretty cool. They had set up a whole world and all the different Disney characters, and the train was going through, and I'm sure somebody was super, super into it. I'm not that person, but hey, you do you, boo, do bobbity boo. At the Beach Club, though, they had a it's a life-size carousel. If you think about those old school carousels that you would see in the mall for toddlers, that size, that was the size of the gingerbread. And last year I was there at the same time as one of the chefs. And so we had this great conversation, and he was there to answer questions. And so look out for that type of programming as well. And he was there and he pointed out all these things, and the carousel is the thing they do every year, but the theme of the carousel changes every year. And coming up is a big anniversary, the 30th, the 20th, the 25th, I don't know, something like that. So he was telling me how they're already thinking about, the pressure is on for what they were going to do this year in 2025. And he was telling me about the process of them getting their ideas approved by corporate. So they need to come up with an idea that makes that they can actually make, but then it has to fit the storyline of the resort. And that he said that they had a lot of ideas that the corporate was no, that doesn't really fit the theme of the resort. This wasn't the example he used, but just as an example, if they want to do a Winnie the Pooh carousel, gingerbread carousel. Oh, did I mention that the carousel is made out of gingerbread? Hella impressive, right? If they want to do a Winnie the Pooh gingerbread carousel for Christmas, for example, it doesn't fit the theme of the Beach Club Hotel, and so it wouldn't be approved. So, that kind of makes sense, right? And it's interesting, both the strict guidelines they have around narrative, which I think is really kind of beautiful, but also it was interesting for him to be like, it's also a little frustrating because we also think about this. And so if we had an idea that we think works, it's frustrating when people like turn it down. But anyway, it was great. What was also really great is that right next to this carousel, they had a little store, for lack of a better word, set up where you could get pieces of gingerbread and you could get little like macarons, just like you can get at the Riviera, and you can get some other little, Christmas snacks and things like that. And that was just set up for the Christmas display. It's probably not even open all day long. I was there midday and it was there and bustling. And that was a great way to get a little Christmas snack as I moved on to the next place. So however you did those 3 hotels, you're now going to leave the lobby and you're going to take the bus to Magic Kingdom. Once you get to Magic Kingdom, you are going to take the monorail over to the Grand Floridian and see what's happening there. Again, we're not quite sure how much Christmas stuff they're going to have because of the construction. Then you're going to go over to the Polynesian and look. The Polynesian is so awesome during Christmas because they have not only like a Christmas tree, like a traditional Christmas tree, but they also have some really interesting displays of different palms and different tropical flowers and things like that that are more, I guess, quote unquote, traditional to the Samoa Islands. Not traditional in terms of Christmas. And that's what Disney does really well, of blending these traditions together. So, after being at all these resorts of like Christmas trees and, it's all beautiful, all unique, but it's also Christmas trees. To be able to see these like different Christmas decorations is just really, really beautiful. Now, of course, last year, the new tower wasn't open, so I don't know what the new Polynesian tower will have for Christmas decorations. It kind of like throws off my flow, to be honest, to tell you to like leave the main Polynesian building and then walk over to the new tower and see the Christmas decorations, but I'm sure they'll be beautiful. But anyway, let's get back to the main Polynesian building and the monorail. And on this little trip, you are going to end your monorail trip at the Contemporary. The Contemporary has a gorgeous, very minimalistic Christmas tree, but they also have a giant gingerbread building as well. Now, I don't think it's as impressive as other gingerbread I've seen, with all due respect to the Contemporary, but what's really great is that it does have like kind of a full gingerbread store as well. And especially in comparison to the Grand Floridian, it was way, way less busy. So it was really nice to be able to just see that other version of Christmas at the Contemporary and then get some snacks. Now that you're at the Contemporary, you are either going to take the bus over to Wilderness Lodge or you're going to take the boat over to Wilderness Lodge. So at the boat dock in the evenings, they will have a boat that goes from Wilderness Lodge to Contemporary and then to Fort Wilderness as well. Like they do that 3. I'm just checking in my brain. Yes, that is true. And so you're going to go over to Wilderness Lodge. You can go over to Fort Wilderness as well and get your heart broken because of the construction, but it's okay. I wouldn't recommend that this year because of the construction, but also because I don't think there would be a lot of Christmas decorations in their quick service restaurant, and that's the closest. But there might be some Christmas decorations on the barn, the Triple C Ranch, the Triple Circle Ranch. Why do I feel like I'm getting that wrong? So you can go check that out if you want, but really what we want to end our evening is at Wilderness Lodge. Wilderness Lodge, again, has this gorgeous tall Christmas tree. And it's not that we're ending here because it is the best, but we're ending here because it makes logical sense. And it is such a gorgeous Christmas tree. It is so tall. The lobby is so open, and so the Christmas tree is right there. Again, all the garland, the wreaths, and all that stuff. But this is a really nice way to end if you have made it through this long day, because I'm sure you're hungry. So you can go to the outdoor bar and lounge and get something to eat. When I was there in August, I got a bison burger with it wasn't a cranberry jam on it, but it was a red berry like that. that. And so that kind of reminds me of Christmas. So you could get something like that as like a Christmas snack, but also in the lobby, on the first floor of the lobby, but also the other floors of the lobby that you can go up to and check out and all that stuff. They have a fireplace. And so after your long day looking at Christmas trees, you can go and like hang out at the fireplace and I don't know, drink something that you enjoy, eat some cranberry sauce. I'm not quite sure. You fill in the blanks here. Oh, well, I know that at the Roaring Fork, which is their quick service restaurant, in the summer at least, they have a s'mores cupcake. And so I'm sure they'll have something Christmassy as well. I mean, look, I'm going the first week of December. I will keep you updated, but I think that's a really like a cozy place to end our very long day. So we began at All-Star Movies. We went over to All-Star Music. We went over to All-Star Sports. We took the bus to Animal Kingdom. Then we took the bus to Animal Kingdom Lodge. We checked out Jambo House in particular, although you can go over to Kidani. From there, we took our bus back to Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then we went to Port Orleans Riverside, where we got to see the most gorgeous Christmas tree in the lobby. Then we walked over to Port Orleans French Quarter. We got to see the Christmas decorations and the garland there, but also got us some beignets, Christmas beignets, which gave us enough energy to take the bus over to Hollywood Studios. From Hollywood Studios, we got on the Skyliner and we went over to Pop Century, and then we went over to Art of Animation. We went back across the Skyliner. We got off at the Caribbean Beach Hub. We went to Joffrey's, got some caffeine. We walked over to the lobby at Caribbean Beach. We saw their Caribbean Christmas decorations. We then walked over to the Riviera, saw their Riviera Christmas decorations, got us some Christmas macarons. Then we got on the Skyliner. We went over to Epcot. We got off at Epcot. We went over to the boardwalk. We went and we saw the gingerbread house that's the size of the dollhouse there, as well as the really cool Christmas tree and the Christmas garland, where I talked to cast members about seeing things I've never seen before. Then we walked over to the beach club, where we got to see the carousel that's made out of gingerbread that's going to be special this year. We picked up some snacks at the little store there. We walked over to Yacht Club. We saw the model train. We were less impressed. We got on the bus. We went over to Magic Kingdom. We got on the monorail. We checked out what was happening at the Grand Floridian. And then we could walk over to the new tower, the new Polynesian Tower. Got to see the Christmas tree there. Then we walked over to the main Polynesian building and saw the unique Christmas decorations that they have there. Then we took the monorail over to the Contemporary Resort. At the Contemporary, we saw our sleek Christmas tree, and we saw our large gingerbread castle as well. It's modeled after Cinderella Castle. We might have picked up a couple snacks or two at the little store there. We then took the boat over to Wilderness Lodge. We got some hearty food there. We got a themed cupcake and a hot drink, and we sat by the fire, and we were like, wow, this is so much easier to do solo. This was such a wonderful Christmas day, and this was so much better to do it than having somebody sit beside you the whole time being like, what are we doing? Another Christmas tree? Yeah, so solos. That is the way that you can see as many Christmas trees across the resorts as possible. And please, please, please comment. Like, what's great about posting on YouTube, although I'm still having problems with YouTube. So if you are mainly listening on YouTube, like, just know that even though the episodes do get posted on Thursdays, they randomly turn private like 24 hours after they get posted. And then I have to go in and have to remember and go in and make those changes. So the episode will come just maybe a couple days late. But what's nice about YouTube is that you can comment. So why don't you go over to YouTube and comment about what your favorite Christmas tree is at which resort? And that way you can let some solos know which Christmas trees they shouldn't miss when they go to Disney Solo this Christmas. Now, look, I know that Disney is expensive, and I'm just thinking about that more and more these days. There was an article in the New York Times about how Disney is just really becoming unaffordable to the middle class. And like that's part of their business strategy, which makes me so sad and just feel really icky. But Christmas is one of the times where you can go and really stretch your dollar far. And so when I was thinking about doing this episode, that was one thing that came to mind. But then I realized, oh, I can actually bring all those topics together. And so that's what the episode, not next week, because that'll be Halloween, the week after will be about. But you'll notice that all of these things that we did today are essentially free, right? Everything was free. Unless you bought things to eat or drink, everything we did was free. So, spoiler alert, some of these themes will come back around in the next episode where I'm talking about Christmas. But I hope you enjoyed this. I did too. My brain very much enjoyed that mental walk around. And of course, going on the app and seeing the wait times and longing to be there for that. All right, solos, until next week. Bye. Hey Solos, it's Samantha. I hope you enjoyed this episode and all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. You can reach me on all of the different social media. All of those links are in this description below. You can also listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. It'd be really great if you rated, reviewed, and subscribed. It's really a wonderful way to let other people know about the podcast. And as you know, we also have a Patreon where you can get bonus content, you can get bonus episodes, you can get all of the videos of us doing the solo stories and a whole bunch more. So come and join us on Patreon. And thanks again for listening to the podcast. Bye.